G'day guys, welcome to the Hang Loose Recluse Government Translation Show. My name is Esulcer Esool Gnah, otherwise known as Goggleman. With me today I have the government doctor spokesperson, paid out wanker drug pusher, Dr. Richard Face. Thanks for coming, Dr. Dick Face.
Always my pleasure.
Now, what the fuck brings you here, and what have you got to say to the Hang Loose Recluse audience? Beside your soul, what are you here to sell? What are you here to sell?
Have a booster. So that's a third one, fourth one, or indeed a fifth one. That's for people aged 18 and over.
Well, all right, now that you've cleared that up, we're very thankful that you're not going to harm the children. Or wait a minute, have you already recommended any for the children in the past? Does that mean they don't have to have this one? Or are you just going to wait a few months to torture them too?
It's really more about boosters than it is about the fifth dose. And what they're saying is, and because they've said it's 18 and over, that removes the restriction on the fourth booster, which was only for 30-year-olds and over. So now everybody can have a fourth booster.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So everybody can have the fourth booster, which is the latest one, except for the children? Or is it the children can't have the fifth one yet? Or are you going to make the children have the fifth one soon because you like to have the adults get myocarditis first? Is that right?
And probably you should go for the 4-5, the BA.4-5 one, which is the latest one.
Okay, Dr. Dickface. Okay, so that's the latest one. So how many corona needles are we currently at? You mentioned 4 and 5. I'm confused. I thought the first one was the only one we were ever meant to be forced to have by those fuckwits that pay you.
The evidence is that you get a bit of extra benefit from the bivalent vaccine, but it's not so huge that if all that was available for you was the original vaccine.
The original corona needle. Was that the original corona needle the Australian government said that would never be mandatory in Australian society? In fact, the Prime Minister at the time is on record as saying that Australia does not have a mandatory corona needle policy. Since that was all bullshit, should people now be worried about myocarditis, since the people that pay you are paying you to say all this bullshit?
And if you're worried about myocarditis, if you've got a heart problem, they give you quite a good boost as well.
If the people are still hesitant about taking the corona needle, is there a way that you can bullshit the people into thinking that the medicine you are paid to promote is actually something else? Like, in order to trick them into it?
And a few international authorities are going kind of the same way. They're calling it the 2023 booster. So the US Food and Drug Administration are advising going for annual COVID shots.
Okay. So let's move on to safe and effective. Was effective meant to mean the coronal needle was meant to be effective forever? Or was that just meant to mean that effective was meant for 6 months or whatever? Or is that whatever number the people that they pay you decided to make up? And if the corona needle efficacy doesn't last forever, does that actually mean that effective doesn't actually mean effective?
Turns out that there's so many people, for example, in Australia have had the natural infection plus the vaccination, but it does wane, and it starts to wane at around about 6 months. So you're okay for that 6-month period.
Okay, so you told me off screen earlier that you get paid for each person that lines up for the corona needle, but you said you weren't willing to discuss that on air. Are there any problems associated with having to get paid per corona needle administered into stupid people's arms?
There are two problems here. One is 5 million Australians haven't even had the third dose. So we are a seriously under-vaccinated country.
So if you're getting paid per person per corona needle, how can you explain to fellow stupid Australians that they should get another corona needle to help you get paid?
First thing, we are under-vaccinated. So the emphasis is on getting your booster shot.
There you go, fellow stupid Australians. Go get your booster corona needle. And Dr. Dickface, what other fake evidence can you provide to help fool Australians into getting the next corona needle so you can make more money?
Now, the other piece of evidence is had their fifth dose and be ready for the next vaccine.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Now you're just speaking in tongues and making no fucking sense at all. It sounds like to me that you were just making this shit up as you go along.
That's the problem. It's badly worded. It's because it's not about number 5. It's about having your booster shot.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So to get it all, you need
to have your booster shot. You should get your third dose or your fourth dose or your fifth dose. You can't have your fifth dose until you've had your fourth one.
There you go, guys. That was Dr. Dick Face, Dr. Richard Face. He needs $1 and needs you to get your next corona needle so he can get paid. And Dr. Dick Face, before you go, is it true that you haven't actually been a real doctor since 1982?
Yep.
Does that mean that you tried to study acting but didn't really get into acting but have been working for the ABC or similar since around 1982?
Yep.
Okay, guys, so next up, what we're going to do now is read out Dr. Dick Face's Wikipedia report. Let's do this. Dr. Richard Dickface. Richard Dickface, born in 1953, is a Scottish-born Australian. Oh, fucking skip. Dr. Richard Dickface, born as Dr. Richard Dickhead, born in 1953, is a Scottish-born Australian physician, journalist and broadcaster. As a young man, he had a near-death experience when climbing in the Scottish mountains with friends. He wanted to be an actor, but instead went to medical school at the University of Aberdeen, graduating in 1976. He later tried unsuccessfully to attend the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. He then continued his postgraduate studies by specialising in paediatrics. Richard Head, Dr. Dick Face, moved to Australia to continue his training but moved away from medicine when he started work with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation in 1982. He was a general manager of ABC Radio National. He was a general manager of ABC Radio National for 3 years from 1990, and in that time increased the audience by 30%. He overhauled the schedule, created the RN Current Affairs breakfast program and recruited Philip Adams, Geraldine Doog and Wendy Harmer as program presenters. Dr. Dick Face co-hosted the Radio National program Life Matters between 1996 and 2001 and has produced and presented ABC radio program The Health Report from its inception in 1985. So he hasn't really been a doctor since around 1982. Try and work that out, guys, but they still call him Dr. Dick Face. On ABC TV, Dr. Dick Face has presented both Catalyst and Quantum and is an occasional reporter on Four Corners, including an expose of doctors' fees. He is currently a regular reporter and commentator on 7:30. On commercial television, he has appeared on the Australian version of The Biggest Loser as a resident health expert. Dr. Dick Face was awarded the Gold Walkley in 1988 for revealing scientific fraud conducted by gynecologist William McBride. Dr. Dick Face's investigation sent shockwaves throughout the medical world and led to McBride's deregistration as a medical practitioner. Dr. Dick Face has won the Walkley Awards, the latest in 2020 for Coronacast, the 2020 Australian Skeptics Award, a Media Peace Award from the United Nations Association of Australia and the highest honour in Australian science journalism. The Michael Daly Award has also awarded the Medal of the Australian Academy since 2004. He was elected a Fellow of the Human Australian Academy of Health and Medical Sciences in 2022. In November 2022, Swan faced criticism for speculating about the causes of the deaths of politician Kimberley Kitching and cricketer Shane Warne during an appearance on News Breakfast. It implied that both deaths were linked to COVID-19 despite having no evidence to back up the claim or access to the medical history. Well, there you go, guys. That's Dr. Dick Face's history on Wikipedia. You can see that for yourself. Don't forget, go and look up Dr. Dick Face. You know who he is. If you're Australian, you know who I'm really talking about. So anyway, this has been another Hang Loose Recluse production. The answer is in Wikipedia. The guy is not really a doctor. He is an actor, a radio person, and a journalist. Paid journalist by the big corporations. Paid to tell you a story. That's right, a story. This has been another Hang Loose Recluse production. Thank you.